Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Olivia, and with me today is your favorite storyteller, Ethan. So imagine being a self-made millionaire who secretly watches his son's playtime. What if those seemingly innocent games were actually intense martial arts training sessions led by the unassuming Maid? Like the video, let's know in the comments where you're watching from, and subscribe the channel so we can reach 1,000 subscribers this month. Ethan, over to you.
Ever get that feeling? Like something's just a little off, like something's changed and it's not quite right.
Yeah, like a subtle shift in the background noise.
Yeah, like that. But what if that shift is happening in your own home and it involves the people closest to you?
Well, that's a recipe for some serious unease.
Exactly. That's the kind of unsettling scenario we're diving into today. A case where the familiar becomes unsettling, where the line between trust and suspicion starts to blur.
The kind of situation that makes you question everything you thought you knew.
Precisely. And it all starts with these seemingly innocent observations. But as we'll see, even the smallest details can unravel a much bigger story.
It's often those overlooked details that hold the most significance. Like cracks in a foundation, they can hint at deeper structural issues.
So let's set the scene. Our main character, Elias Thorne, is a self-made success story. A software innovator, brilliant mind, built a tech empire from scratch.
The quintessential entrepreneur. Driven, observant, used to seeing patterns where others see chaos.
Right. Now he's living the good life. Beautiful estate just outside Charleston, South Carolina. He's got a loving wife, a bright 8-year-old son named Samuel.
The picture of success and domestic bliss.
Exactly. And to help manage their busy lives, they have a live-in maid, Imani. She's been with them for about 3 years, and by all accounts, she's a wonderful caregiver. Gentle, diligent. The kids adore her.
The kind of person you trust implicitly with your family.
Absolutely. And for a long time, everything seems perfectly normal. Samuel and Imani have this sweet bond. They spend hours playing together, building forts in the living room, reading stories, typical childhood fun. Elias, working from his home office, would often glance out the window, seeing them laugh and play, and feel this sense of contentment.
A heartwarming scene. The kind of normalcy we all crave in our lives.
Right. But then something starts to shift. Elias begins to notice a change in their playtime. It's subtle at first, but it catches his attention. The games are becoming more physical. There's more movement, more intensity.
A change in the dynamic, moving from passive play to something more active, more purposeful.
Yeah. And it's not just the level of activity, it's the way they move. Elias starts noticing these intricate, almost choreographed movements. A sudden, perfectly balanced stance during a game of tag. A quick, reflexive block of an imaginary swipe. These little flashes of precision that seem out of place for a typical 8-year-old.
Like watching a dance unfold, but not quite recognizing the steps or the rhythm.
Exactly. And this discrepancy is what sets off alarm bells in Elias's mind.
Because he's wired to spot patterns, to analyze, to understand the underlying systems.
Right. So what does he do? He starts observing. More intently, more secretly. From his office window, he becomes this silent watcher, trying to decipher what he's seeing.
Gathering data, forming hypotheses. It's the scientific method in action, even if it's driven by suspicion rather than pure curiosity.
And he keeps these observations to himself. Doesn't want to alarm his wife, doesn't want to jump to conclusions. He needs to figure this out on his own terms.
A cautious approach, which makes sense given the situation. After all, he's dealing with the safety and well-being of his son.
Then, one Tuesday morning, something happens that really ratchets up the tension. Samuel and Imani are playing in the living room. Samuel, full of boyish energy, lunges playfully at Imani. Now, any normal adult would probably just step aside, right? But Imani does something different.
She doesn't just react, she responds with purpose.
Exactly. With this incredibly fluid sidestep, her arm moves in this precise arc, almost guiding Samuel's momentum past her. Samuel, momentarily off balance, stumbles a bit. And in a split second, Imani shows him how to regain his footing with this small, controlled push against the ground. It's all over in a flash, but Elias, watching from his window, knows he's just seen something significant.
A demonstration, not just a reaction, a subtle lesson woven into a playful moment.
It was like a light bulb went off. Later that day, he finds Samuel in his room, practicing that exact sidestep, brow furrowed in concentration.
The student mimicking the master. It's a classic pattern of skill acquisition.
Elias casually asks, "What you doing, buddy?" And Samuel, without missing a beat, replies, "Imani showed me a cool move. She said it helps you not fall down."
A simple explanation for a complex action. Children are remarkably adept at absorbing new skills, especially when presented in a fun and engaging way.
Cool move. Yeah, that's one way to put it. But for Elias, those words are confirmation. The seed of curiosity has now blossomed into full-blown suspicion. He knows there's more to this than meets the eye.
The pieces of the puzzle are starting to emerge, but they don't quite fit together yet.
And the more he observes, the more puzzled he becomes. Over the next few days, he witnesses Imani teaching Samuel how to fall correctly, how to roll with impact, how to use his body weight for balance.
Techniques designed to minimize injury, to turn a potentially harmful situation into a controlled maneuver.
Exactly. But it's not just the techniques themselves, it's the precision, the methodology. Elias notices specific hand gestures, foot placements, a very deliberate structure to the movements.
It's like she's following a script, a set of instructions passed down through generations.
That's exactly the feeling he gets. Like he's watching a dance with steps he doesn't recognize, a language he doesn't understand.
A hidden language of movement, perhaps.
Right. And this mystery is driving him crazy. He's tempted to confront Imani, to demand an explanation. But something holds him back.
Perhaps a respect for her privacy, or maybe a fear of what he might uncover.
Maybe both. But then comes the incident that really pushes him over the edge. 5 days later, Samuel's playing with a friend in the yard and he trips.
A common childhood mishap. We've all been there.
Right. But this time, something extraordinary happens. Just as Samuel's about to land awkwardly on his arm, he instinctively tucks it in, rolls onto his shoulder, and springs back to his feet. Perfectly executed, like he's done it 1,000 times.
The training kicks in, muscle memory takes over.
Exactly. And the look on his friend's face, priceless. Total bewilderment. Elias, watching from the window, feels a chill run down his spine. This wasn't just a cool move anymore. This was something deeply ingrained, an automatic response honed through practice.
A demonstration of real-world application. The skills are no longer theoretical. They've become part of Samuel's instinctual repertoire.
At this point, Elias knows he can't ignore this any longer. His concern has morphed into a full-blown investigation. He starts using his laptop, pretending to work, but secretly recording their sessions.
Bringing technology into the equation. It's the modern-day detective's toolkit.
Then he takes it a step further, installs a hidden camera, disguised as a birdhouse, overlooking their practice area. He justifies it to himself as concern for Samuel's safety. But let's be real, he's hooked. He needs to see everything to understand what's really going on.
The surveillance intensifies. He's gathering evidence, piecing together the puzzle.
So for the next week, Elias becomes this obsessive analyst, reviewing hours of footage, cross-referencing it with his own observations, and he starts to notice patterns. Imani's teaching follows a clear structure. She focuses on a specific movement or principle for a day or two, then progresses to the next. Repetition, reinforcement, building a foundation, and her demeanor is always calm, patient, encouraging.
A skilled instructor, tailoring her approach to the student's needs.
Samuel, on the other hand, is loving it. He approaches it like a game, but his focus is remarkable. He's absorbing these lessons like a sponge.
Engaged, motivated, thriving in this unique learning environment.
Now, Elias is a logical guy, right? He needs to categorize this, to put it in the box. So he dives headfirst into the world of martial arts. He's watching videos online, karate, taekwondo, judo, you name it. But nothing quite matches the fluid, graceful, yet grounded style he's witnessing.
He's trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. The traditional categories don't quite capture the essence of what he's observing.
Exactly. So he digs deeper. He starts exploring more obscure, ancient fighting styles. Historical texts, online forums, anything he can get his hands on. He's looking for that aha moment, that spark of recognition.
A quest for knowledge, driven by both curiosity and concern. It's the classic hero's journey, but instead of slaying dragons, he's battling the unknown.
But the deeper he goes, the more perplexed he becomes. Nothing fits perfectly. That's when a new thought emerges. What if this isn't some well-known martial art? What if it's something unique, something personal, something Imani learned from her family, maybe passed down through generations? It makes sense, right?
A plausible explanation. A secret family tradition, hidden in plain sight.
But even that explanation doesn't fully satisfy him. There's a depth, a complexity to what he's seeing that suggests something more profound.
A nagging feeling that there's still a missing piece, a crucial element that hasn't been revealed.
And then, about 12 days into his surveillance operation, he captures something on camera that changes everything. Imani's demonstrating these intricate hand movements. Her fingers are moving in a way that almost resembles sign language. Samuel's mirroring her. completely focused.
A silent exchange, a transmission of knowledge beyond words.
And as they practice, Imani speaks softly, her voice barely audible on the recording. Elias has to enhance the audio, strained to hear, and that's when he catches it. This phrase, whispered almost reverently, "the way of the silent protectors."
A powerful phrase, imbued with mystery and a sense of ancient tradition.
Chills, literal chills. The way of the silent protectors. What does it mean? Is it a code? A secret society?
Yeah.
A hidden lineage?
It opens up a whole new dimension to the story. Suddenly, we're not just talking about self-defense, we're talking about a purpose, a responsibility.
Elias is completely captivated. This single phrase transforms his investigation. He's no longer just curious, he's obsessed. He has to know more.
The stakes have been raised, the mystery has deepened.
A few days later, he's reviewing footage from the weekend. One session stands out. Imani's demonstrating low stances, sweeping leg movements. Samuel's trying to mimic her, but he's struggling with his balance. Imani kneels beside him, gently adjusts his posture. And then, Elias sees it. A subtle but significant action. She places her hand on Samuel's back, but it's not just support. Her fingers shift, applying pressure to specific points along his spine.
Tactile manipulation, perhaps. A deeper understanding of anatomy, energy flow.
And instantly, Samuel's posture corrects. He's stable, grounded. It's like she flipped a switch.
Like she unlocks something within him. It's a fascinating glimpse into the potential of subtle, precise touch.
Elias recognizes it from his research. Acupressure, maybe even some form of energy work. This is way beyond your average martial arts class.
It's a reminder that the human body is a complex system, and there are many ways to interact with it, to influence its function and potential.
And it reinforces his growing suspicion that what Imani's teaching is something truly ancient, something with roots in a tradition far older than he could have imagined.
A tradition that blends physical mastery with a deep understanding of the body's energetic pathways.
One evening, while Samuel's getting ready for bed, Elias notices a small, worn, leather-bound book on a high shelf in Samuel's room. It's not one of his usual storybooks. Curiosity piqued, he takes it down. The pages are filled with an unfamiliar script, handwritten, and intricate diagrams of human figures in poses that are eerily familiar.
A tangible piece of the puzzle, a primary source that could hold the key to unlocking the mystery.
There are also these strange symbols and annotations he can't decipher. Driven by his need to know, he discreetly photographs several pages before returning the book to its place.
A responsible approach, preserving the artifact while seeking knowledge.
The next morning, he's on a mission. He spends hours online trying to identify the language. He even contacts a linguistics expert he knows professionally.
Calling in the experts, sometimes you need outside help to crack the code.
And finally, he gets an answer. The expert identifies it as a very old dialect from a small, isolated community in Southeast Asia. Ancient, rare script. A full translation is impossible without more context, but the authenticity is confirmed.
A significant breakthrough. It links Imani's knowledge to a specific cultural and geographical origin, adding a historical dimension to the mystery.
It's a huge piece of the puzzle. This book, this language, it all connects back to Imani. But why? Why is she teaching Samuel this ancient art? What is this way of the silent protectors?
The central questions remain unanswered, but now Elias has a clearer path to follow.
The next day, he decides to try a slightly different approach. He's in the backyard, pretending to be on a business call, but his attention is fully on Imani and Samuel. They're practicing these synchronized movements, a mesmerizing dance of balance and precision.
Observation in a more naturalistic setting. Sometimes you learn more by blending in than by standing out.
Imani speaking softly, instructing Samuel. But Elias manages to catch snippets of her words. For centuries, our family has been entrusted with a sacred duty to protect those who are vulnerable. The art of the flowing hand passed down through generations.
More pieces of the puzzle fall into place, a family legacy, a responsibility passed down through generations, the art of the flowing hand.
It's like a light switch flips in Elias's mind. He sees it all now. The ancient book, the unique fighting style, the whispered phrases. Imani isn't just a maid. She's a guardian, a keeper of this ancient art. Her family has been protecting people for centuries, and now for some reason she's chosen to share this knowledge with his son.
A remarkable revelation. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. The mundane becomes imbued with history and purpose.
Elias ends his fake call, his mind racing. He's no longer just observing, he's involved. He has to talk to Imani to understand what this means for Samuel, for their family.
The time for passive observation is over. He needs answers, clarity, a way forward.
So he waits until Samuel goes inside, then approaches Imani. He doesn't beat around the bush. He tells her he's been watching them, that he knows what she's teaching Samuel.
Direct, to the point, no more secrets.
Imani's surprised, of course, but she recovers quickly. There's a quiet dignity about her, a sense of unwavering purpose. Elias asks her directly, "Is what you're teaching him more than just self-defense?"
Cutting to the heart of the matter.
Imani nods slowly. "What is it?" he asks. She glances around, ensuring their privacy, before answering. It's an ancient martial art passed down through her family for generations. Elias, almost to himself, murmurs, "The art of the flowing hand." Imani looks at him, genuinely surprised that he knows this phrase.
A moment of shared understanding. The secret is out in the open.
Elias mentions the sacred duty, the protection of the vulnerable. Imani confirms this with a solemn nod.
The weight of responsibility carried through generations.
And finally, Elias asks the question that's been burning in his mind. Why? Why are you teaching Samuel? Imani's gaze softens, and she looks towards the house, towards Samuel. Her answer is simple, yet profound. Because, Mr. Thorne, I believe he will need it.
A chilling statement. A foreshadowing of future challenges, a need for these skills that goes beyond simple self-defense.
And there we have it. The mystery, at least in part, has been revealed. Imani is teaching Samuel an ancient martial art, not for sport, but for protection.
A protector in the guise of a caregiver.
But her answer only raises more questions. What dangers does she foresee? What is this sacred duty her family has been entrusted with?
And what will Elias do with this newfound knowledge?
Will he embrace it? Will he try to stop it? How will this secret shape Samuel's future? These are questions we'll have to ponder, dear listener.
But perhaps the most important question is this. What hidden depths exist in the lives of those around us? What secrets, what skills, what legacies are being carried forward unseen in the everyday world?
What seemingly ordinary interactions might hold extraordinary stories waiting to be uncovered? Think about it. It's a thought-provoking question, isn't it?
And that's the story. If you learned a lesson or two, give it a thumbs up and subscribe the channel so you'll be notified when another story is posted. See you soon!